All right. Good evening, families. My name is Heather Deer, and I am the Director of Family Engagement here at William and Mary. Thank you for joining us for this third webinar in our spring semester webinar series for families. Just a little housekeeping before we continue. This session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel in just a couple days, and you will receive an email when that recording is available and ready for you. We will use the Q&A feature here in Zoom to ask questions of our presenters, and we will take as many questions as we have time for at the end of this session. Today we have a really exciting presentation. It's very rare for us to have a full panel of students joining us for a webinar, and I'm excited that they could all be with us this evening. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to our students who are representing our student-run financial literacy program here at William and Mary. And they're going to teach us all we might need to know in ways we can support our students as they grow their financial literacy. All right, going to turn it over to our students.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Pawan KC. Thank you, Heather Deer, for arranging for us to be here today. And like Heather said, we're part of the Braun Financial Literacy Program at William and Mary. And we're going to be presenting this webinar about a little bit about financial literacy at William and Mary. So this is our entire team of peer educators. Again, my name is Pawan Casey. I'm a junior studying business analytics and psychology.
Hi, I'm Ada Wu. I'm a sophomore majoring in finance here at William and Mary.
Hi, my name is Milo. I'm a sophomore studying international relations and minoring in business analytics.
All right, so starting off with why financial literacy is important. So a lot of studies show that majority of college students do feel stress about personal finances. Financial literacy is something that everyone can continuously learn and improve on, and it's really important that we start building those foundational blocks early on in college. Learning more about financial literacy and educating yourself can really help reduce stress and support academic success, and really build those lifelong habits early enough as students will start to make an income as soon as their freshman year, whether that's an internship, an on-campus job, or a research stipend. So it's really important that students can learn how to effectively manage their finances, so that way they're more equipped for their real-world responsibilities once their college journey is over. So to start off with the foremost financial resources at William and Mary, it starts with our financial aid office. Their contact information is finaid@wm.edu, and they are the foremost resource for students about financial literacy when it comes to their own situation. The financial aid office is really equipped to help navigate students around what their own financial situation looks like, taking into account their aid packages, their financial situations with their families. So this is really the one-stop shop for personalized guidance for navigating your own financial situation with financial aid. And then next, I'll be handing it off to Ada, who is going to talk to us about the Tribe Guide.
Yeah, thanks, Pawan. So now the Personal Finance 101 4-part series module is available on the Tribe Guide, and this resource will begin to be available on May 1st, so very soon. The Tribe Guide is essentially a checklist to help incoming students over the summer have a smooth transition to college, which includes questionnaires, educational modules, applications that are the students' responsibilities to complete prior to coming to campus in the fall. And so there's also a parent and family checklist available with important deadlines, very similar to the Students Tribe Guide checklist to help you on your own transition into the William Mary community. And so within the educational models, students will be encouraged to complete Personal Finance 101, again, as I mentioned, a 4-part module series on basic financial literacy concepts that are followed by comprehension quizzes at the very end of each module. And so first is a module on budgeting that helps students track their spendings and choose a personalized budgeting system. Secondly, a module on understanding different types of financial accounts, like when to use a savings account, checkings, brokerage, when to open up a retirement account. We also go over credit in this module. Thirdly, we have our taxes module that goes over key tax forms and essential tips when it comes to filing taxes. And finally, our savvy shopping module, which advises students on how to save money with smart everyday shopping tips. And so these modules are a great starting point for any student that's never been exposed to financial literacy. But the best part is that it's created by us. The next slide. Us, the Braun Financial Literacy Program. And so, who we are, essentially, we are an 8-person student-led team working to make financial literacy accessible to all students at William Mary under the Bully Center for Excellence in Finance in the Business School. And so, you can read more about our individual bios on the Bully Center website. And on campus, what we do is a variety of things. So, first, we host on campus wide events each semester, which are open to all undergraduate and graduate students. We lead private workshops, and we also support campus initiatives through tabling or sending out newsletters. Specifically, for our campus-wide events, we typically host 3 events each semester where we present a different financial literacy topic in a very digestible manner. And so this past semester, we held a budgeting event, a taxes event, and then this coming Monday, we have an investing event where we're inviting a guest speaker, David Clemens. He's part of the WAVE group at Morgan Stanley in Williamsburg. So that's be very exciting. And within our private workshops in the past, we worked with the Posse Scholars Foundation at William Mary, Fraternity Sorority Life on William Mary on campus, and also Student Assembly, just to name a few organizations on campus where we've held private events on a particular topic at the request of the organization that we're working with. So overall, our purpose is to bridge the information gap of financial literacy and help students avoid the high cost of financial illiteracy, because financial literacy shouldn't come with a high price. And if anybody has specific questions that you don't feel comfortable maybe asking on today's webinar, you're welcome to reach out to our program coordinator, Emily Dunn, by email as listed on the slide. And now I'll pass it over to Milo to talk about some of our online free resources and other campus offerings that students can access at any time.
Yeah, thank you, Ada. So William and Mary uses a website called Blackboard for all things related to your courses. So professors might post things like their lecture notes or your grades or other resources. The financial literacy program has a Blackboard of its own. And on it, we have all of our recordings. So all of our events that we host are recorded, and you'll be able to watch those back there. And then we also have our slide decks posted, so you'll be able to see those too. Depending on the unit, there also might be some handy files like a budgeting template and tax instructions. These things are just meant to accompany the content we have and make it helpful for you to access these things. And on the next slide, there is a QR code. If you guys would like to scan, I'll give you maybe 30 seconds, and it'll take you to our budgeting template, which is super helpful for students starting the semester. For many of them, I can imagine it's their first time living alone, and so this helps to ease some of the complications that comes with budgeting. All right, we can go to the next slide now. Okay, Cash Course. Cash Course is a website provided by the Financial Literacy Program, and it's intended to help you learn about the basics of financial literacy. So it includes over 10 courses that are mainly geared for students. So for things such as student loans, getting started with investing, but also long-term goals like retirement planning. Each course lasts around 30 minutes. There's one section that's learning, and then there's a small quiz at the end. And it's really quite manageable. So they're pretty bite-sized, and I would recommend doing them. And they're also 100% free, so you can't get better than that. And now for some cool resources on campus. So there are all kinds of different sports clubs on campus. I'm in club sailing. I know that Ada is in club swim. But sometimes the dues for these clubs can be pretty expensive. So thankfully, the Recreation Center offers financial assistance for these dues. So if your child is interested in joining a club sport, but maybe the cost of dues is holding them back, all they would have to do is fill out one form. It's served on a first come, first served basis. So the sooner the better if they are interested in joining a club sport. Secondly, the Recreation Center also offers free Fitwell classes. And I think there's over 30 different types. There's cycling, running, dance. I've heard really great things, and these are free as well. So I would recommend trying one of those out. Thirdly, there's the Tutor Zone. This, I would say, is one of my favorite resources on campus. I've used it every semester that I've been here. There's always been at least one tough course that I need that extra help on. And the Tutor Zone, you can make as many appointments as you want, all for free. And it's staffed by students who've gotten an A in the class. So you know you're in good hands. Finally, the SWEM library offers free access to a variety of publications like the New York Times and the Atlantic. And it even offers free subscriptions to things like LinkedIn Learning, which in itself has thousands of courses to help yourself improve professionally.
And that's all for our content. If you have any further questions about what the Braun Financial Literacy Program offers, feel free to visit our website. If you just Google the bully sign William and Mary, you'll find our drop down, and that's where we got into all the resources that we've gone over and contact information for if at any point you'd like to contact us on campus. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you all. While families think if they have any questions, I have a couple of questions of my own. We were talking about it before the webinar started, but I'm wondering if each of you could share what inspired you to get involved with the financial literacy program.
Sure. Yeah, I can go ahead and go first. So I think pre-college, sort of, I was never formally introduced to the idea of financial literacy. I know in a lot of public school systems, personal finance is a required course. But in my public school system, there was a bypass by taking AP macro and microeconomics. So I was never exposed to a formal education of personal financial literacy. And then once upon coming to campus, I think at that sheer amount of freedom I had. I definitely went a little crazy with finances in terms of spending a lot of money because you're just exposed to a lot of different opportunities and stuff like that. So I think pretty soon I knew I had to learn how to sort of control myself so I could sustain myself financially for the rest of my life, essentially. And in exposing myself to different programs offered by the business school, I found the financial literacy program. And then going towards some of the sessions, whether it was the personal budgeting session, or the taxes session, I was really able to take away tangible things that I was able to apply to my own practices around financial literacy. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to immerse myself in that opportunity and help the rest of the campus. So that's where I am.
Yeah, at least for me, growing up, I had the privilege of being financially literate from my public schooling system. We were required to take personal finance 101 and econ between middle school and high school. And also my parents had just educated me on like my tax forms when I got my first job and everything. And so coming here and learning about this organization was really this full circle moment for myself. And I see financial literacy as a lifelong journey of education. And so having the opportunity to bridge that information gap to some people and students who didn't have the same resources as I did growing up. It's a very fulfilling role to have right now. So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love to help people, and I'm not a master of financial literacy by any means, but I do know a thing or two. So being able to help people and create new content about financial literacy and just making something that's complicated and stressful for a lot of people more accessible is really fulfilling for me.
Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. I think our students are lucky to have such a robust resource that they can take advantage of when they do start to become curious about financial literacy. Um, and I am curious, what are the most common financial questions or concerns that you all hear from your peers? What are you hearing when people are asking questions about financial literacy? What are those top questions?
Yeah, I think some of the top questions, I guess, really revolves around financial literacy when it comes to post grad. I think during their college career, a lot of people have either supplementary income, whether that's by student employment or family assistance. And in managing, they have a good idea of how to manage that level of income. But once they make that step into a corporate space or a space where they have a more stable and consistent source of income, and they have things like bills they have to do, rent, shop for themselves, and whatnot. I think that's just a lot of things at once. So a lot of people aren't prepared for that steep jump off, if that makes sense. So I think ways that they can prepare themselves and how to sort of go about handling those responsibilities with the income that sort of comes post grad for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that I've heard is just about taxes, which can be pretty confusing, just about which forms to use, things like that. And maybe just like small things with like banking apps, like routing numbers and transferring money, things like that, smaller questions.
I think for me at least, things on and surrounding investing. I know at least coming into college for me, I never knew how to open up a brokerage account or anything like that. And like hearing my peers do all that and sort of invest in all different kinds of stocks. Those are pretty common questions that I've have received.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you all have offered workshops on almost all of those topics, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so we have families on the call tonight and who will be watching this recording later or listening to it on Spotify. But I'm curious, what role do you think parents and families play in helping students build their financial literacy?
that's a good one. I think definitely just having open conversations about it is important. I think I can speak for almost like everyone in terms of I've learned the most I've gotten out of being in this role is learning more about what I don't know about financial literacy than presenting it to other people. So like Ada was saying, it really is a lifelong journey, and I think sort of embracing that we're all in this together. And as a family, I think handling financial literacy is something you can handle together as a family. So being open about things like taxes and credit scores and sort of how money is handled, I think just really helps make it less um, sort of a quiet subject, if that makes sense, and just creates more open dialogue about it.
For sure. I think just hopping on to that open dialogue and ma having these conversations be more digestible for children, even when they start out, when they're young in elementary school or middle school, having that early on exposure is crucial, especially as we grow on and have this lifelong journey of financial literacy.
Yeah, I agree as well. Transparency is super important. I also think giving them more independence from a young age, like if you give them their own bank account from a young age, that in itself teaches you a lot. Um, and yeah, just being more open and starting earlier, I would say.
Okay, I think I have my last question for you all, which is um, how how does taking time to really grow your financial literacy skills now, and how is helping students grow these skills going to prepare them for the future, or what is the long-term benefit from your perspective?
I think the main long-term goal of our program is just to equip people with just a sense of comfort when it comes to their finances. Um, you know, budgeting or handling your finances, I don't think comes natural or easy to anyone. If it was up to me, I'd love to spend all my money on food and whatnot. But I think if we're able to build sort of just a proactive mindset about just being aware about what your finances look like, where they're going, what track you're going on. I think that's what I'd like to prepare students with.
Yeah, for sure. And to hop onto that, I think that learning early on and being more conscious about how you're spending your money, that sort of decision making is smart decision making that you can apply to other aspects of your life as well. And especially when it comes to retirement too, the sooner you save for that, the better. And so just sort of getting in that mindset of making smart money decisions will translate into making smarter decisions as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like all of our presentations um, cover at least like more than one period in your life, like, maybe college years and then retirement. Just by at least getting a little bit of information about what to expect is huge, so you don't become overwhelmed when you get to that point.
Yeah. Think it's never too early to start talking and having those conversations with students about financial literacy. It really is kind of the foundation. College is a time to practice some of these skills too, and before you're out, in the real world, um, and you have more of that true stable income. And so this is a good time for families to have those conversations and teach these skills and prepare students for the future. So If families, besides the website, if families want to talk to their students about any workshops that are happening or any events that you all are hosting, where is the best place for families to get that information?
Yeah, the best place would be the Bowley Center website. If you would just Google Bowley Center William and Mary, you'll find the Bowley Center for Excellence in Finance. And within that, on one of the top tabs, you will see the Braun Financial Literacy Program, and that's us. And on that page, there's a Blackboard that Milo was speaking of, Cash Course, and from there, you'll be able to find all our prior content and presentations.
Wonderful. And for families who are watching this recording, the website for the financial literacy program will be in the description here in YouTube. And it will also be in the email that you received letting you know this recording was ready. So we will share those resources with you directly. But thank you to our student panelists for being on our webinar tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time to build this presentation, to share this information with families, and all of the work that you're doing to support our students as they build financial literacy. So, hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I will see you all on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.